Hey everyone, it's Mandy Gibbons and I'm here with Jack, and I've known Jack for a few years. He's such an amazing guy. He really wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's experienced his own like mental health issues. But you know, when you meet someone who's super genuine and has like just a beautiful soul, and that's one of the things that I first noticed about Jack when I first met him. And so there's a little bit of a backstory about how Jack and I met, but in the meantime, I kind of want Jack to be able to like introduce himself a little bit and tell us about the new exciting news that he's got, and then we'll backtrack from there. So welcome, Jack.
Thank you very much. That's a bloody sweet introduction of all like that.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about your most exciting news, right?
So most exciting news, and I guess most recent, would be that I've left Australia to go work in Las Vegas as a performer.
That's it. Well, tell us a little bit about, as much as you want about that, because I mean, for me, it's incredibly exciting for you because I've seen your journey, right? And I'm like, hell yeah, Jack.
So I've been recruited by Thunder from Down Under, which is a very well-known male performance show in Las Vegas and around the world. And I guess I've come from doing little private strip shows at home back in Australia to working on big stage in front of thousands of people and being able to travel with it, which is something I remember saying about maybe I've been doing it 6 years ago. I think I said if I was going to do this, I'm going to do it properly. And yeah, it's quite amazing that this job has now taken me around the world.
Big time. And yeah. and the opportunities, and you are right, because that's one thing that I do notice about you. When you dedicate yourself to something, you're like all in.
Oh, the good and bad to that. So like, I'll stick to something that probably a lot of people will say that you probably should not do that, but I'm pretty stubborn like that. Like, I'm gonna go after it. Like, I'm gonna follow my heart.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, you have to. Like, I don't want to live with that thought of what if, what could have been. I want to just say that I did it.
Yeah, that's it. And I'll use an example that when I first met Jack, because I was writing poetry and I wanted to do a photo shoot, and I was so friggin' nervous, right? Like, I was like shaking, freaking nervous. And I actually felt sorry for Jack and the photographer as well. I remember Charlie, the photographer, saying to me, did you bring any alcohol, Mandy? And I said, no. And he goes, oh, it's going to be a long fucking day. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, but the poetry was very much about empowerment and love and connection and so forth. And also me sort of liberating myself in a different way. And I was so nervous, and a good friend of mine, Kerr, said, oh, I've got this amazing guy. He's so gentle. He's so nice. He's really good at what he does. He's just, he's super kind, and he won't bag the crap out of you either if you are just like terrified. And I was like, he sounds perfect. So I was so grateful. And you were so helpful and supportive on that day. But also it really shone through, one, your professionalism, but how genuinely caring you were as well, and just a really, really nice guy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know what it's like to be terrified. Absolutely.
And so, and it was good that, because I got to, when you are doing a photo shoot with someone, especially when one person's really terrified, you get to be able to see what shines through in the other person and what their strengths are, right? And so, we got to have conversations there with, while Kerr was there, and I remember thinking to myself, and even telling Kerr afterwards, and some people that I met afterwards, they said, oh wow, he was hot, blah 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 blah. And I said, yeah, he is but he's also this really incredible guy. And I said, he's going to do some really amazing things in life. I really just feel that, because he's just, yeah, there was just all these really cool qualities that you had about you. And so seeing your journey since then has been like so exciting for me, because you know that I adore the hell out of you and have so much respect for you, and just love seeing you do really great things for yourself.
Yeah, it was so long ago, and it's funny that you even say that I made you feel so reassured, because I remember at the time I felt so abandoned. I was going through a big breakup at the time. It really affected me, and I've always had an issue with abandonment. So when you say like you felt safe, and you know, and people's true selves come out, like I naturally want to protect people, and I didn't feel like I was good enough then. But I'm always trying to treat others the way I want to be treated. Something that just naturally came out. I didn't even think of it until you just mentioned. You know, I was someone that doubted a lot about myself for a long, long time. But I guess I don't think about too much about how I interact with people.
Well, see, that's the good thing about conversations like this, right? Because then, and other people that I have spoken to you that know you all say the same thing. Yeah, and they're like very true and genuine about that when they say that too.
That's really sweet to hear. I know I generally don't say a lot about good qualities about myself. Definitely don't. And that's something I've been trying to change for a long time, and still am. Even I'm not stopping doing that kind of groundwork while I'm here as well. I think one of the first things that I noticed, being the new guy, a bit anxious and all that, but actually I've got great support over here. The guys are really, really friendly. They're really, really supportive. I got a great boss who's able to just kind of dumb things down for me and just kind of help me get a better plan of what I can get out of this and plan a bit more for the future. It's like all things that I never really had a plan for. I never really had a plan past being 26, and I really didn't. And now I just kind of just went with this attitude of like, I've got to see what's going to happen next. Like something better is going to happen. And my goals got a little bit more narrower towards the end. And even now they're getting a little bit further ahead. I'm starting to think, well, how can I actually save up for this? And how can I retire? And what do I want to get out of it? What do I want to give back to the world? I don't just want to start making wealth. I actually want to leave a mark. Do I get to a point where I'm saving so much and 15% of my earnings goes to a charity I believe in? I want to leave something. So I want wealth, but also so I can give it away. And how I'm trying to figure out how I can actually do it at the moment. I've never had these thoughts before. And it's only until that I've been in this position where I've got the luxury of having the freedom. I've got my own place. I don't have to worry about like electricity bills or rent or anything. Everything's provided at the moment. So like when I say this is the best job, this really is the best fucking job in the world. I couldn't be happier actually. I've got a great team. They really are a great bunch of guys. They did fucking stitch me up on my first night though.
Tell me.
So first night on, and obviously I'm fucking terrified because I only learned the opening for the night, so I'm learning in sections as I'm going along. So it's about an hour of a show. So rather than learn one whole part of the show, I'm just learning like intros and endings and all that. And for the last 4 weeks, I'm now basically more than halfway done. But anyway, so going back and just learning to do the opening, I meant to do some fucking military show and like salute and all that. And then we do a pants rip. And it wasn't the boys that stitched me up. It was my boss of all people, was the manager, who's like, "It's okay, man. I got you. It's fine." And he's like, "I'll tell you when to go on stage." And he's like, got patting on my back. He's like, "Go, go, 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 go." And we're meant to meet out in the front of the stage, like marching out in the line. And then we walk to the front of the stage. But I come through these doors and I walk to the front and I join them. So when he told me to go, I walk through the door, I stand in the middle, and there's no one there. So I'm on this huge stage, but like with like 800 fucking people just watching this one dude, and I'm saluting like a jackass because I don't know what to do. And then it just goes black, and then like I run off stage, and everyone's laughing, and the guys are laughing. They're like, "What's really funny is that we were going to do something. We didn't expect the manager to actually do it." We were just going to get you to rip your pants on stage. It was like, that was way worse. That was horrible. But yeah, it was fun. Yeah, great. That just adds to more trust issues.
The good thing is like you get to see they're human now, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's the main part, is that I lost a lot of passion for performing a while ago. I was still doing it because I had to pay bills, and it's the best thing I really know. And I like making people happy, and I love leaving a performance. I love leaving an expression, but I lost the passion. I hated what I did. I didn't like where I was. And now I'm back actually just having fun, which has been the most important thing. Like, I'm trying to remember all the steps and all that. But even when I'm running behind the back of the theater and getting ready for my position, there's always one of the blokes just like, "What's the most important rule?" "Have fun." I'm like, he asks me, "What's the most important rule?" My first answer is, "Don't fuck up." It's like, yeah, that's okay, don't do that, but have fun. And so I'm having fun again, which has been great. And for the last 4 weeks, I've been my most authentic self, which has been amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. And you can even tell, like, just talking to you, like, it's amazing. It's great.
Because I before I had such a monotone, and the depression really got to me, and I guess have been for a long time, and it took a while to learn a lot about it, and that was the big thing to really come in the last 3 years. 3 years ago, I think I've been in a pretty bad state. And it might not be like that for a lot of people. You always hear it can last for a few days, a few months, it can last years, and it does. But it drips down, and as you get, I guess, older with it, you start to learn, and you start to learn about yourself, really. That's the most important thing. And even now, I'm still trying to get aware of it. There are days where I just still feel like I just want to ball. And I'm trying to figure out, where does that come from, and it's just a thought, and then it's not real, it's just a thought, and and I feel it, and I feel better for it. Or I go and write my diary now, which is just what I'm going to grow from, what's going to help me maintain, and stuff for me. That was a big help as well, just to kind of put things onto paper, which was not easy at the start. Absolutely hated it. It started off like really bloody simple, like writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Hardest thing to do in the world, like, to start off with. And honestly, a lot of the times it was just, I'm grateful to have a roof over my head, and I always will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're in a dark place, and dark can be like different levels of darkness, right? But when you're going through that, it's you don't have the appreciation always for the things that you could be grateful for, because it's so overwhelming, right? Like, you're so down a rabbit hole of, and not only that, when you don't love yourself, and because we are, as humans, especially when we go into, we start to really struggle like that, we beat ourselves up so much, right? We have nothing good to say to ourselves. we don't feel like anyone else sees anything good about us. Even if they do, they could tell you all the amazing things in the world about what they see in you, but you don't believe that, right? And so when you're in those sort of feelings, it's very difficult and challenging to be grateful.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That happens with mobile phones sometimes, like if you've got a call coming through or a text message, sometimes
yeah, you get so many adverts trying to call you. I absolutely love it here, though. It's just maybe it's my ADHD because of all the lights and flashing. There's so many distractions, but I love it.
Well, you are in Vegas.
Yeah.
Would you mind like just sharing like a little bit about maybe we can dig a little bit deeper into some of the, your mental health?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, because that was one thing I remember, it wasn't too long after we first met. I know that you'd gone through your breakup, and it was probably about within 12 months after that I actually noticed you were like going downhill more and more. And it's more from the way that we were speaking, right? Like when I would talk to you and I could actually feel like the pain and the anguish when we were talking. And I remember being so worried about you, and you know what I mean? Yeah.
Self-loathing kind of the vibration you're sending out. It's yeah. And you start to learn where it comes from. Like breakups are horrible, and it was kind of like a nail on the head at the time, but it was a series of things, and it all comes from of neglect. And one thing I found out, my biggest issue, I guess, came from a lot from my parents and how I was raised. I always grew up with a kind of love is something kind of paid for, or it's a favor. It was never something that was unconditional. Love always had conditions in my family. So that was kind of how I learned how to love other people, was to do things for them, and then they'll love me instead of just me for me. And, and when they reject me, my first feeling is, why am I not good enough? Love me, love me, love me, love me. I'll just give, and that's just how I grew up. And I saw how that got into my relationships. I got married too young because I just wanted a family, because my family was fucking horrible. Nobody talked about anything. If there was just a fight, and then they wouldn't say anything afterwards. So nothing was dealt with. I hated growing up around that. I tried so hard to not bring that into my relationships, where I was just like, we need to talk, we need to fix this, but that never always works. But looking back, I see a series of things of just of where it came from. I guess the biggest part was realizing that my relationship with my dad really affected me as well. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that affect us. It's never one thing, but it always starts young, and then it's just, just life happens, unfortunately. But one thing I noticed in regards to, I guess, relationships, was that my relationship with my dad was that he is a total narcissist. Can't be wrong. So as a young boy, I idolized my dad because in his eyes, he was a hero. But because he's a narcissist, I'm an extension of him. And if I don't portray that perfect image, then Jack doesn't get any love, And I didn't really notice that until I was like older, especially in my teen years, when I just didn't want to do subjects that I wasn't interested in, but my dad did, and he would get furious, and then my parents would fight, and someone would be thrown to the floor. Yeah, it came back. So I'm trying to think of what the word of that is, of how to make better sense of it, really. I'm not. Yeah, I guess it made me more of a people pleaser out of it. Yeah. But noticing that was a big kind of mind blown. What's the word for it? I figured out, a psychologist put it to me very well. I am a narcissistic enabler. That was like, what? Boom. And that made perfect sense. Oh my God, if I didn't do what they wanted me to do, then I would just keep giving my love. I would say, well, it's not their fault. You know, they had a bad childhood as well. Their father beat them. They have depression. They were neglected. That's fucking bullshit. My depression does not give me an excuse to treat you like crap, and neither does yours. Like, but I would keep giving them excuses for it. And yeah, I hope I can at least make that clear and save a lot of people some time realizing that one.
I'm so glad that you brought that up here, because this is it is so true, and it happens for a lot of people, right? And I think too, I'll go for it.
Want to be loved.
Yeah.
It's one thing that everybody has in common. We want to be loved.
Yeah.
And it's fairly obvious. I mean, like, take influencers, for example. They've got to get over 10K or 40K. The more people, it's, you know, but then it becomes a business. Well, that's another subject, really. Anyway, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're bang on right. And it's interesting. That's why it's not uncommon for, influencers to have really serious mental health problems, right?
Yeah, that too. It was never something that I was really interested in. And in terms of job wise, I wouldn't consider myself an influencer. I'm just a guy with a camera. That's really it. The influencer side of things, I don't know. I realized very quickly of how fake it is. It's very fake. Nothing's original. Everything's a remake of everything that they found another person did. Nothing's authentic.
It feels empty.
Yeah, it feels very empty. I mean, when I started, I kind of got into it because I worked as a personal trainer, and social media is a great tool for PTs. Great tool. You're showing what you're doing. You're giving information to people. You're like, I'm literally giving out programs on my story. I'm taking picture exactly what I am eating. And that's how it started. Because for me, it was just a good way to get clients and to kind of share what I wanted to do. I wanted to give back. And then I kind of got into the social media or the influencer side of things. And it was just, I didn't like that it turned into a job. I just like sharing, to be honest. I have to do 2 posts a week or 3 posts a week, and I've got to do this. It's just like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I much prefer just sharing my story and I just like being honest. Like, guys, I feel fucking shit today, but I'm doing something about it. And then that's just kind of what it's turned into, I guess, from my side of things. It's just a diary at this point, I guess. Don't know yet.
It is. I've noticed that, and I like that. That's one thing I like about what you post, because there are insights that you post into how you're dealing with things yourself, how you're feeling about yourself, but also there's lots of stuff that you share that other people will be feeling as well, that will resonate on a day that they're just going, fuck, I've had enough of today, I really have.
And I do post like a fair amount of thirst traps, but I'm a stripper.
That's it.
Still my job.
Yeah, but you have a mix. You're an inspirational stripper. How's that?
Real,
When it came to, like hitting your darkest point, what was there like can you remember like a decision that you made where you just said, to yourself that you were going to have to start making, you're going to have to get help and make some choices, or was it more like a gradual thing where you just started like slowly, just by taking little steps, seeing a little bit more hope?
I guess like I put my foot down for the wrong reasons, but I gradually built up for the right one. So when I started, like I held on for the wrong reasons. Like I'm gonna get back together with my ex. I'm gonna do exactly what they asked of me. I'm going to earn $2,000 a week. I'm going to have my own place so that they're under my blessing. I'm gonna have my passport so we can travel. It was just, and like this is like, I've got like text message, like word for word, the fucking to-do list of like what I needed to provide or what I have to give them. They didn't want to work. They wanted to be looked after. And it's like, and I was willing to do it because I'm madly in love with them. And you might always will be. That's the worst part of it. You just won't love someone like that again. And I don't want to, because it was toxic. It was. But I held on for the wrong reasons. Like I just wanted to be back. I just wanted that. I wasn't doing this for me. But that took at least a few years. I'd say maybe a year and a half, probably two actually. I think it wasn't really until I was with one of my friends, who just never left my side. It just kind of proved me, just would always remind me of like who I am. You are a good person. You do reach out to people, you know, and it's really important to have people like that. I would not be here for my friends. I wouldn't. And you're gonna learn very quickly as well, like during depression, who your real friends are. There's a lot of people that can't handle what it's like, and it's fucking shit. It's the worst. Depression's the absolute worst because you just push people away, and it's the last thing you need. And you can't help it because our natural reaction as I guess modern day human beings is that that's a bad vibe. I can't have that around me, so you have to deal with that on your own. Well, they've been on their own their entire life. That's why they feel like that. You know, and sometimes when you want to help as well, you do more damage because it pressures people. And that's another thing that depression does, is that it's too much. You're too helpful. You know, you need to give me space. It's a very delicate thing to deal with as a third person, or I guess as a close friend. It's something that you got to be really patient with as well, because fuck me, were my friends patient.
Yeah.
As many times I just thought, like, how are you still with me? Like, seriously, I'm like, I put you through some pretty traumatic things having to deal with me. I feel like a shit person. Yeah, just horrible. But I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that that's unconditional love. They don't expect anything of me. They don't ask anything of me. They just genuinely love you. You know, and it's so important.
Yeah,
You know,
is.
It's not that Disney story of that Prince Charming or that hero who would do anything and give anything for that the princess, and you know, and then they're together. It just doesn't work like that.
You just kicked ass, by the way. I'm just sitting here listening and thinking this is so bang on. I mean, I know what it's like to go through really, really dark times, and what you're saying is you nailed it.
Yeah, you got to have that close circle. You're going to find out who your real friends are. Yeah. People can't, because we're not taught how to deal with it. So if for example, if somebody wants to be alone, fine. I'm not going to pressure them. If that's what they need, then they'll be alone. Just know that I'm here for you. That's not that hard to do. And that's very small. And you're not pressuring anyone. You're just reassuring them that I fucking care about you. And it shouldn't be, you need to deal with this on your own. Every one of my partners, you know, because I feel terrible that they have to deal with it. And it is a hard thing. And I get it from another person's perspective. For example, I've got this feeling that I will never be good enough. I'm not good enough for you. No matter, and they'll take that as, and that's how they'll take it, that they're not good enough, or I'm still in love with someone else, or this self-loathing feeling, or they'll think that I'm comparing them to someone else because I've been hurt so bad before, and that's just not true. I still have these feelings of abandonment. It doesn't change how I feel for someone. I can still adore the shit out of someone and still feel so awful, and it doesn't go away. But I acknowledge that. But having to explain that to a partner is very difficult, very difficult. And having to explain someone to please not to take it personally. Like, I would die for you. Just know that I want to die.
I know. Yeah.
It is a difficult one to explain to partners, and you'll learn people that either have gone through it themselves are usually the ones that understand it, because it's just something that's just not taught. We're not taught how to communicate with each other.
That's good. You have no idea how proud I am of you. Like, if I was there, I would give you the biggest hug. I am just so thrilled to bits to see you thriving like this. It's friggin' awesome, Jack.
Yeah, I hope to keep it going. I really do. That's the scary part. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's coming next.
Well, that's the cool part about this, right? You become very aware of where you're at and what's going on for you. And so as you're moving forward, you can pick up on yourself when things maybe aren't sitting right with yourself, so you know what to do, right?
Yeah. There's a lot that I'm still kind of catching in the moment. I am very hard on myself still.
Yeah.
As I'm working, I'm going, I screwed that up, because I'm on the night. I've learned it, and I'm doing the routine I just learned like a few hours before.
Yeah.
And I do beat myself up, but they do reassure me, like, I wouldn't put you on if I didn't think you were ready.
That's right.
You've learned more than half the show in less than a month. You've done pretty well, Jack.
Yeah, that's true. And you are very good at choreography and stuff as well. I know that from Kurt telling me that. So you're kicking ass.
Hard on myself. I'm not a professional dancer at all, but I'm doing pretty well. Like I some of the guys took like 3 months to 6 months to learn it, and yeah, I shouldn't be so hard on myself. I still do that.
And talking about that, Jack has to head off soon. Like, he's got to go get ready. So and I promised I would keep it to around 40 minutes. So we're sort of hitting that limit now. So I want to make sure that he's not late for his show. But thanks so much. I could keep going with you for this for at least another 45 minutes, right? I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful that you are able to like jump on today and share this, because I know it's going to be incredibly inspirational for a lot of people, and especially for men as well, because there's a lot of guys out there that just aren't sure how to deal with what they're going through with their mental health and their emotions. And you really brought it today big time, Jack. I really appreciate it.
You're right about it. It's a terrible thing, because it eats away on the inside. That vulnerability is weakness. No, that's bullcrap.
There's a lot of strength and courage that goes into that, and also it comes down to kindness too, right? Being kind to ourselves, and that's super important. Well, that's good. Well, look, I know you have to go. I don't, because otherwise we'll keep talking. I don't want to make you late. All right then. Well, big hugs. Is there anywhere that people can like reach out to you, or even follow what you're doing, like on your Instagram? Do you want me to include your Instagram links and so forth?
Yeah, best option, the main one I actually use, if not the only one I use, really.
Yeah.
That's where I make my posts. But if you're wanting to see like behind the scenes of what goes on backstage and the touring and just the general job, there's a lot of it on my story.
That's awesome. Oh, that's cool. Fantastic. All right. Well, massive hugs, big hugs. All right then. Well, I love you lots and take care. Hey.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Cheers.
See you later, Jack.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.